Let us go through the 2021. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the 2020, but I think we are cool. So let us look at the 2021. This was written on 11th November 2021, which is a school certificate. And here was the first question. Which of the following are characteristics of all living organism or all living things? Egestion, no. Where is egestion? No. Egestion, no. Excretion and nutrition. Nutrition and photosynthesis, no. Not photosynthesis. Plants, animals, for example, we do not photosynthesize. So excretion and nutrition. The following diagram shows the detailed structure of animal cell. Which of the labeled parts modifies and transport protein from the site of synthesis to the site of reaction? So this is Golgi apparatus. Now, which one is it? This is not this one. This is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. These are ribosomes, and that is the mitochondria. So the answer is B. The diagram below shows the experiment conducted by Elena. Startup experiment, end of experiment. Distilled water in the whisking tubing. Then in what happened? So outside here we have a salt solution. So salt solution is normally hypertonic. So hypertonic. So expect the water to leave the cell to outside. Okay. What is the correct explanation to what happened to the whisking tubing after 12 hours? The whisking tubing became smaller because it is porous? No. Lost water due to evaporation? No. Shrunk because salt was moved into it? No. Shrunk because water molecule moved out of it? Yes. So the answer is D. Question 4. The table shows the condition in 4 test tube containing equal amount of starch and salivary amylase. In which test tube would the starch be broken down? The table below shows the condition in 4 test tube containing equal amount of starch and the salivary amylase. In which test tube would the starch be broken down the fastest? I think this question, we've looked at this kind of a question at some point, if I'm not mistaken. Now here, you don't expect to find more breaking down in acidic condition. So salivary amylase does not work in acidic pH, as a pH of 2 is acidic. Now let us look at this. We look at C and D. So here we are going to go with the one that has 37 degree. Okay. So 7 and 37 degree Celsius. So the answer to this question number 4 is D. Okay, let us proceed to look at question number 5. 4 food samples were tested for each of the following nutrient: fats using ethanol, protein using butyrate, reducing sugars using Benedict solution. Now, which of the following sample contained protein and reducing sugar? So the key is always there. Present of the nutrients represent a tick. Absent, okay, so they are saying which contained proteins and reducing sugar. Now, proteins are tested by butyrate and they turn purple. So where there's purple should be ticked. So these that are not ticked, which means no proteins. Then brick-lead, that is for reducing sugar, so it should be ticked. So this part is not ticked, so which means not the answer. Then this part is ticked. Then white emulsion should not be. So this one gives us B as the answer. I guess you've learned a strategy on how to work out answers using elimination method. There will always be 2 answers that are totally wrong, 2 confusing answers. And the easy way is to go about cancelling out or working out those that you are certain are not correct, then go to the 2 that are confusing and figure out what you know. Then you should be able to find the answer. Which of the following plant nutrient is essential for germination of plant grain? Which of the following plant nutrient is essential for germination of pollen grain, growth of pollen tube? Which of the following plant nutrient is essential for germination of pollen grain and growth of pollen tube? So the one that is essential for this one is the boron. So therefore the answer is the A. So the plant nutrients, look at what is the function of boron, calcium, iron, and also other. Very important. Question 8. The following figure shows the diagrammatic summary of the main event in the photosynthesis. So photosynthesis at this stage, we can say it is made up of two stages, that is the Dike cycle and light cycle. What happened during the light cycle? Water is split. Okay, light energy absorbed by chlorophyll is used to split water, the process called photolysis. So here the process X is called photolysis because water molecule is split. Then of course, when water molecule is split, hydrogen ion is produced and also oxygen. Oxygen is produced as the waste, as the product which goes to the atmosphere. Some of it is used by the plant for respiration. But hydrogen ion is taken to the next stage where it is combined with carbon dioxide in the dark stage to produce glucose. So hydrogen react with carbon dioxide to form Z, which is the glucose. So what is the question? Process X is photolysis. So those that are not talked about or those that do not show photolysis, we remove them. Then let us go to Y. So Y is carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, carbon dioxide. Then what is produced is glucose. So the answer is C. Let us go to the question 9. The diagram below shows the structure of a bread mold, rhizopus. Which part releases digestive enzymes? Which part releases digestive what? Digestive enzymes. So it is this part, which is the rhizoid. Also, this is the feeding hypha. It releases digestive enzyme at the same time. After the nutrients have been digested, it absorbs the nutrients into the organism. Okay. Let us go to question 10. Which of the following is the dental formula of a dog? Which of the following is the dental formula of a dog? So you need to know about the dental formula of a dog, the dental formula of a cow, the dental formula of a rat, and also the human. So the dental formula of the dog is D. Okay. The diagram below shows human alimentary canal. Which of the following labeled part does peristalsis take place? So peristalsis take place in the esophagus and also in the intestine there. So we have 3 and 4. Okay. So some of you just know that peristalsis take place in the esophagus. No. It also take place to other part of the intestine. Very important to know that. Okay, question 12. Which of the following chemical from the cigarette smoke reduces the amount of oxygen carried out in the blood? Is carbon monoxide. It has high affinity for hemoglobin. It competes with oxygen to bind on the hemoglobin. Okay. 13. The diagram below shows the apparatus set up to investigate production of carbon dioxide during respiration. So we've looked at this kind of equation at some point. So normally the air that is coming here, there will always be the hydroxide to remove. It can be soda lime or potassium hydroxide. Any hydroxide removes carbon dioxide from air. The air that comes contains oxygen, and you can test it from the first part here. It is passed through lime water in test tube X. So if carbon dioxide was removed, it stay what? It stay clear. Then when it comes, the air comes here, it is used by whatever organism here for respiration. Then the gas is produced. The gas that is produced, if respiration took place, carbon dioxide will be produced, and it will result into the lime water in Y turning what? Milky. So what happened, or what changes would occur to the lime water in the test tube X and Y 5 minutes after setting the apparatus? X will stay clear, then Y will be cloudy. So stay clear, cloudy, no change, cloudy. So you are going for C. Okay. Question 14. Which of the following is not safe sexual method or sexual practice against HIV and AIDS? Which of the following is not a safe sexual practice against HIV and AIDS? Abstinence is a safe practice. Consistent and correct use of condom is a safe practice. Use of contraceptive is not a safe practice because these, they do not prevent you from getting HIV and AIDS. Question 15, the diagram below shows the sketch of the uptake of water by plant. What processes are represented by the arrow 1, 2, 3, and 4? So what are the processes that are represented by this? So we have this is by osmosis. Then of course here is by transpiration pool. So already we should have osmosis. So those that do not have osmosis, we cancel them out. So I have transpiration pool, transpiration pool. Let us look at the third one. So this one is osmosis again, then of course diffusion. So at 4 is diffusion. Now for these two questions, for these two answers, C and D, if you are doubting, at that point 4, it cannot be osmosis, it's diffusion. So that's why we are saying, okay, at that point is diffusion. So which means that point should be osmosis. So the answer is D. That is how you easily look at the answers if they are confusing. Question 16, which of the following donors would safely donate blood to patient with blood group O? So blood group O can only receive blood from blood group O, okay, because it has the antibodies for A and B, okay. The diagram below shows the longitudinal section through the human heart. What are the chambers X, Y, and Z? So this is the left ventricle. It's the left ventricle. As you know, the right side of your heart is the left part. Then this is the pulmonary vein. Then this is the right atrium. So that is what we are looking for. So which one is the answer? So X is the right atrium. So those that have left and all that. So right atrium, only one. Then left ventricle. Then pulmonary vein. So the answer is C. The diagram below shows the kidney and its blood vessels. What is the name of the part labeled X? So the name of the part labeled X is called the cortex. So it is the cortex. Okay, question 19. The diagram below shows the human skin. What is the name of a structure labeled X? So this is the sweat gland. Sweat gland. Okay, so sweat gland. 20. So you should be able to know the parts of the human skin. Compared to the hormone, a nerve impulse generally has, compared to hormone, a nerve impulse generally has. So in this case here, the nerve impulse is fast. Okay, is it fast? As long has a long-lasting response. So compared to the hormone, nerve impulse has long-lasting response, no. Widespread response, no. Fast, yes. So you're looking for no, no, and yes. So the answer therefore here is B. The one that has long-lasting response is the hormone. Then widespread is the hormone, but slow response. We are on question 21. A girl accidentally touches a hot object and immediately pulls her hand away. In this reflex action, what is the effector? So pulling out the hand, it is the contraction of the muscles. So the muscle in the arm is the effector. Effector is just part organ or part of the body that carries out response to the stimulus, though it carries out response, in other words. Question 22. The diagram below shows the human ear. What is the function of the part labeled X? So the part labeled X is the eustachian tube, and of course equalize pressure between the mid and the atmosphere. So the answer is C. We've answered such a question at some point. Which of the following actions strengthen the arm at the elbow? So strengthening of the arm. You need to know the process of strengthening the arm. So when the arm straighten, it means the bicep contract, the tricep relaxes. So here the answer to this question is the bicep relaxes, the tricep contract, which is the C. Which of the following indicates the primary growth in plants? So primary growth has to do with the plant growing up or down, not sideways. So increase in the length of a stem, that is primary growth. So look at growth and development. I have also a video right here that is recorded just under this part, growth and development. It's a full topic, so make sure that you look at that before you go in an exam. Which of the following is not a condition necessary for seed germination? Which of the following is not a condition necessary for seed germination? So oxygen is necessary, suitable temperature, yes, water, but soil is not. So the answer here is B. Question 26. A bean was germinated and grown in the dark for a few days. It was then placed as shown in the diagram P. Diagram P shows the appearance of a seedling at the beginning of experiment, while Q shows its appearance after 2 days. So at the beginning, the shoot was lying horizontally and the root. After some time, the root started going down. So this is what we call positive geotropism. Now, the root was going down, the shoot was going in the opposite direction. So in relation to this, the shoot was growing negative geotropism. I know some of you are going to say, what about positive phototropism? I don't seem to see the light here, which means it was uniformly, the light was coming from all direction. So the response here is called negative. For the shoot, root is positive geotropism, then negative geotropism for the shoot. Which of the following method of sexual reproduction are unique to amoeba, yeast, and fungi? So amoeba is binary fission, budding for yeast, and of course fungi spore formation. So binary fission, budding, spore formation. So the answer is A. That is for question 27. Okay. Then question 28. Name the following vegetative structure labeled X, Y, and Z. So this is tuber. This is rhizome. Okay, this is rhizome. Then this is the this is a bulb, please. This is bulb. This is tuber. Okay, so we have the bulb, rhizome, then tuber. Bulb, rhizome, tuber. So the answer is B. Okay. Then let us proceed to look at question 29. The diagram below shows the process in reproduction. What process is represented by X? So this is pollination. Okay, pollination. Just a transfer of pollen grain. So this is pollination. The answer is C. Up to question 30. Up to question 30. So for question 30, what mode of dispersal is illustrated in the diagram? So this is self, because the pods explode and the seed is scattered. So this is the self-dispersal. Question 31. Which route does unfertilized egg follow through the female reproductive system? Which route does unfertilized egg follow through the female reproductive system after it has been released from the ovary? So the starting point is the ovary. Okay, from the ovary it goes to the oviduct. So the ones that is starting with oviduct, uterus, no, not uterus. So from the oviduct it goes to the uterus, from the uterus then it comes out that way. Okay, so uterus, that is oviduct, uterus, then vagina. Okay, so the answer is A. All right, we proceed to look at the next question, which is question 32. The diagram below shows the side view of male and female reproductive system. Which two parts are cut and tied during procedure called tube ligation and vasectomy? So tube ligation involves the cutting of the oviduct, so it is at 3. That is the tubal ligation. Then vasectomy is cutting of the sperm duct, which is 2. So 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Tubal ligation and vasectomy. 2 and 3. 3, 2. 2 and 3. Okay, we have no 3, 2. Okay, so that is the answer. Which of the following correctly identifies the example of continuous and discontinuous variation? So we've done quite a number of these, and I guess as you go through, you'll be able to study and see the answers. You know that from the questions you can even have, or you can even study, because some of the answers you'll be coming across, or some of the function of something, you'll be coming across them for a first time. So which one is the continuous? So continuous, we can talk of height. Okay, sex, no. Color, no. This, no. So we have height, then which means color of humans is discontinuous. So from here you are able to know that, okay, blood group is discontinuous, color of flower is discontinuous, sex in humans is discontinuous. And for continuous, you know that it's height. Then we can talk of skin color in humans is also continuous. So very important. What stage of mitosis is this, or is illustrated in the diagram? So as you can see, the chromosomes are pulled to the end pole. This is anaphase, away from the center. Okay, so this is called what? Anaphase. So it is anaphase, which is A. Okay. Question 35, the diagram below shows a pedigree to which the member of the family have hemophilia. So the key, very important, the one that is shaded is male hemophilic, female hemophilic, then normal male, normal female. Then what is the question? Which person is a carrier for hemophilia? Which person is a carrier for hemophilia? So look at this, this. Now look at this. A, B, C. Which one is the carrier of hemophilia? Now, this one is sick, this one is sick, this one is sick. Then a male cannot be a carrier. So it's either sick or normal. A male cannot be a carrier. So the carrier here is B. So the answer is B. Okay, so the carrier is B. So the male cannot be a carrier. It's either you are sick or you are normal. Which of the following type of the soil has the highest distribution of earthworms? Which of the following types of soil has wide distribution of earthworms? Now, earthworms, they need nutrients and also aeration. So, loamy soil has the good aeration and also water retention and the nutrients. So, it is the loamy soil that has the good loamy soil that has the highest distribution of earthworms. Then question 37, the diagram below shows the pyramid of biomass for organisms in an ecosystem. Which organisms are carnivores? Which organisms are carnivores? So the carnivores are those that feed on fresh. So it is not this one. This is actually the producer. Then these are herbivores. These you find omnivores. So here you can find carnivores and also there. So if there are two letters P and Q, okay, P and Q, you can find carnivores there. Okay. Then question 38, rabbits are primary consumer. The following figure shows changes in the population of rabbits after a small number was released on the island where none had previously lived. So you can see which stage show the birth rate was equal to death rate. So birth rate is equal to death rate when there's no growth in the population, just go straight. So you look at this part, which is the part C. The diagram below shows part of a carbon cycle, which later represent photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is where the plant use carbon dioxide. So it is this. Which effect is least likely to occur as a result of deforestation? Decrease in biodiversity, an increase in soil erosion, an increase in level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, an increase in risk of flooding. So the one that is least likely to occur is the increase in flooding. So the answer therefore here is D. All right, so that gives us, or that brings us to the end of this particular paper. I hope you've enjoyed up to this point. Let us keep pushing. We are almost there. You have to go through all this work. And please don't forget to subscribe.